freedom has begun.
God began to speak to me about Biafra. I said, I see an animal. Which animal did I told you last time? Huh? I said what? A what? A what? A small puppy. And I say, I see a small puppy going forward. All of a sudden, I saw so many strange wild animals, lion, bear, great animals around the puppy. Then I saw the puppy look back and saw that the animals around him are so many. Suddenly the puppy, what I saw last month is different from what I'm seeing now. The puppy is developing some futures of wild animals. This.
Was it love or the great passion for Nigeria or Africa or black people in general that moved the British government to join the two protectorates? Let us not be naive. The British do not make such decisions out of sentiments. It was money. The British amalgamated Nigeria basically due to economic reasons. They knew that Nigerians are different people, and that as soon as they packed their bags and returned to Europe, the country would descend into chaos. But they joined the two protectorates together nonetheless. Everything Lord Lugard did was in the interest of the crown. Remember, Nigeria was not independent at the time and had no say in the issue. So how did money cause the amalgamation? The Southern Protectorate was economically buoyant and so generated more than enough revenue for the development of its territory. This was due to the fact that the people produced enough food, spices, palm oil, and other agricultural products like cotton and sugarcane in abundance, and this was further boosted due to the closeness to the sea. The Northern Protectorate, on the other hand, did not generate enough. In fact, if the Northern Protectorate continued to stand alone, the British government would not have a choice but to use their money earned from their ventures in other lands and registered into the British Commonwealth to sustain the Northern Territory. Frederick Lugard sought to avoid that and so devised the idea of taking the surplus from the Southern Protectorate and using that money to offset the deficit of the Northern Protectorate. But how could that be done without raising technical and administrative issues or even starting civil war? The answer was a clever word: amalgamation. With the amalgamation of Nigeria came a single vast territory which produced tin, animal skins, coal, cotton, cocoa, palm oil, and so many other resources, all for export in huge quantities to Britain. They even had seaports in several locations. Amalgamation made Nigeria a gold mine for the British, a truly profitable venture indeed. This visionary leadership brought high praise for Lord Frederick Lugard at the Queen's Court in England, but has raised a lot of boiling issues today. At this point, you must be wondering about the effects of the amalgamation of Nigeria. There were only 28 persons involved in the so-called amalgamation of January 1914. While 6 persons were Nigerians, the rest 22 were British, including Frederick Lugard himself, the architect of the amalgamation, and the first Governor-General Louis Harcourt, the Secretary of State for the British colonies, and other European officers in charge of the two protectorates. The following were the only natives officially involved in the amalgamation ceremony: a lawyer, Sir Kitoyi Ajasa, Yoruba; His Highness Sianbola Onikipe Oladigbolu I, Alafin of Oyo, Yoruba; Honorable R. Henshaw, Obong of Calabar, Efik; Honorable Maiturare, Sarkin Musulumi and Sultan of Sokoto, Fulani; Honorable Abubakar Shehu of Borno, Kanuri; Honorable Usuman Emir of Kano, Fulani. No Igbo man who has the highest population is even represented in the fraud arrangement. No person of Yoruba extraction signed it. Only 2 Yoruba sons were present at the obnoxious charade: Oba Sianbola Onikepe Ladigbolu, the Alafin of Oyo, 1911 to 1944, and Sir Kitoyi Ajasa, a Lagos lawyer, representing the African community in Lagos as a legislative council member of the colony since 1902. They were not part of the signatories. The British represented themselves on both sides and signed the documents on their behalves. Therefore, the document does not bind us in any form whatsoever. You should observe that there was more Fulani Northern presence than any other Nigerians in the signage. The pact between the British and the Northern Fulani oligarchy had been sealed for over a century, and what we complain of today should never be a surprise to anyone who knows history. We are merely slaves living out the dreams and arrangements of unconcerned bourgeoisies, the British and the Fulani imperialists. So Nigeria must be recognized as a business interest which the British imperialists, a foreign people, bequeathed to their partners, the Fulani imperialists, also a foreign people, upon their camouflaged departure from Nigeria in 1960 to safeguard and to use for the mutual interests of both. The indigenous people and the actual owners of the land were never intended to be part of the equation.
Possessed. And I told them, I said, Simon Ekpa is fully possessed and also is a man that everybody should be careful to stay out. What's the meaning of that? The meaning of that is what is called possessed with the spirit of freedom. When somebody is possessed with the spirit of freedom, it will be in such a way that the person has no any other thing to do than to fight for what's called freedom. So you look at the Biafra land as a place called the fatherland of Biafra. The spirit of freedom right there in Biafra has already completely possessed Simon Ekpa. And as he has possessed Simon Ekpa, you that is trying to begin to make noise or fight with him or do one thing or the other, you are also fighting the spirit of freedom. And if anything happened to you, it is not my concern, because you don't understand how spiritual things and the things of the spirit goes. Because in the realm of the spirit, when God wants to make sure somebody's used for a purpose, the person will be used based on the coming upon the spirit, or what the kind of power that's possessed you, or the spirit that has possessed you. So spirit of freedom is already in his life and has possessed him fully, and they cannot talk any other thing than what's called freedom. And if anybody needs to move on the same direction or the same path, you must also come to the level of that level of spirit of freedom to endow you and possess you, and then you can be able to talk about freedom. People that talk about freedom with empty mouth, they end up and they're carried by chaff. When the wind blows, they are carried away. People that talk about freedom, when something bribe is given to them, they will just betray and go away. But people that are possessed with the spirit of freedom, with the spirit of Biafra land, no matter the bribe you give to them, they will never accept your bribe. They will never agree with you. If you like, take presidency of social country, they will never accept it from you, except that freedom that has possessed them, that they are after. That's what they go about. So Simon Ekpa is already filled with the spirit of what's called freedom fighting. And so you should stay clear and not fight the man that has received what is called the grace, or received the power or the spirit of freedom. Don't fight that man. Fighting that man will destroy your life. It may even cost you what you and your generation may continue to suffer it. So I am not here to begin to follow anybody or side anybody. I am here to throw the light of what I am seeing in the spirit, because the spiritual always controls the physical. And when I'm giving the message that's called the spiritual message, I pass it raw the way it is. So Simon Ekpa is a man that has already been filled and also possessed fully with the spirit of freedom. And spirit of freedom is not the kind of spirit that you joke with. When Jesus came upon the face of the earth, he said, the spirit of the Father is upon me, for he has anointed me. The spirit of the Lord has come upon me. He has anointed me to preach the good tidings, to spread the good news, to carry the word of God all over the place. And Jesus went about, was doing exactly what the spirit of the Father possessed him to do. And that same spirit was what made him, that even to extent that he died on the cross and was buried, and on the third day he resurrected, because there's a spirit that quickened the dead body, and the spirit quickened Jesus, and Jesus went up and began to do exactly what he came to the world to do. So Simon Ekpa, you are seeing, is a disciple of what's called freedom fighting, and the spirit of freedom has fully possessed him, and you can never separate him from that spirit, and they can never one day wake up and talk about any other thing rather than talking about freedom. And that is why most of the revelations you are seeing, and most of the deep mysteries and deep things that is bringing out here and there, is based on the spirit of freedom that is upon his life. So if you want to stop him, go first of all and remove the spirit of freedom out of him. So when you remove the spirit of freedom, then you can have a way. But if you cannot remove the spirit of freedom, you better join him and not fight him. That is what's going on. And then you come to the Biafra land as a Biafra nation. All the people that must talk about freedom are people in the class of what's called Dim or Jumegu Ojuku. We talk about people, you go straight away, you talk about somebody like Namo de Kano. You talk about every other person that is not known, but they are hot. You talk about Simon Ekpa. You talk about Major Prophet David, Elijah. We are not talking about this freedom based on, oh, yeah, we are so, or we want to collect money or this or that. We are talking about the emancipation of God's people. God's people is in Nigeria, and also their light is not shining. It's supposed to shine where it ought to shine, to change the destiny of Africa, to change the destiny of the people right here in the South Africa and the West Africa, Nigeria side, to change their destiny, to even bring a blessing to Yorubas, to the Hausas, to Fulanis, and everywhere, to bring the light that will shine permanently. But it is quite unfortunate that some people have sat on these things and not allowing this light to shine. And this is what has been causing the deep darkness that has covered all over the place. And so major prophet of God is in the business of also throwing the light in the prophetic, so that people that know what's called the truth can be able to follow the truth, because a prophet is a prophet. And any nation that must be great in life must also work with what's called people that are possessed with the spirit of freedom. People that are filled with the spirit of freedom. Jesus said, the spirit of the Lord is upon me, for he has anointed me to preach the good tidings. So this is the work of the Spirit. It's not the work of flesh and blood. It is things of the Spirit. And that is why I keep on saying, if you must follow a man that is led by the Spirit, you also have to be spiritual. If you are not spiritual, you begin to chase shadow. You will be talking out of the point, going here and there, chasing the cloud and cloud chaser and all of that. You will not know how things are going. And this is why we try to follow up in the realm of the Spirit, and everything that has been happening in the prophetic aspect of everything happening with Nigeria and all the people that are fighting for freedom in Nigeria. We've been able to stand in the gap to also detail them how they are going to end up, and they are also happening that way. It's a proof of what's called being endowed and being possessed with the spirit of freedom. So you, before you talk about freedom, pray for the spirit of freedom to come upon you. If the spirit of freedom comes upon you, finish, matter settled. That is how it works. Without the spirit of freedom, you cannot talk about freedom. And when you talk about freedom, you will just be looking for who to fight and who to worry. You will not mean the real deal, because this freedom we are fighting for will surely come to pass. It's just one day God will prove the word that He is God, and something great will begin to happen on the face of the earth. God bless you, and thank you for watching this very program. If you are a freedom fighter anywhere in the world, may the Lord stretch His hand and touch you, bless you, lift you up, grant you all your heart desire, make you a testimony, and cause all the enemies to bow, and let the light of God shine on your way, and let the glory of God come upon you. That which you have been asking of the Lord, receive it now. In Jesus' precious name, I pray. Amen.
You must go and listen to Simon Ekpa, who is doing a very fantastic job. Very great job that Simon Ekpa is doing. Very, very, absolutely fantastic job that he's doing. You must listen to him and share his videos accordingly. Very, very important. He is bringing a new dimension to this very awareness that we are making, and you must listen to him. Very, very important.
Good evening, good morning, fellow BIAFRANs all over the world. Welcome to this special and very important evening emergency announcement and briefing to the Biafra people this evening. as we step up the game for the liberation of Biafra and to secure the land and the territory of Biafra. It's very important that I inform Biafra people where we are, what we are doing, and where we are going. I want to first of all thank all of you for the successful second day of the historic 2 weeks at home, which is targeted at the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, preparation for the self-referendum, and to also put to the world on notice that Biafra people are ready to take their own future and their freedom into their own hand, and then also to make sure that we invalidate the legitimacy of those who parade themselves as the elected officials within the Biafra territory. I thank you all this evening. When you see me dressing this way or looking this way, it means that the Biafra Liberation Army activities has been activated to the full scale of the defense of Biafra. And in the past days, the Biafra Liberation Army has engaged the Nigeria Islamic Terrorist Army, police, and some of them who always derive joy in killing Biafrans at will. Today, I can assure you that it is no longer business as usual. The self-defense of Biafra has been activated and will continue to neutralize them. Yesterday, the Biafra Liberation Army neutralized 3 armored tanks of the Nigeria Terrorist Army in Biafra land. Many of them were neutralized, and they know that it is no longer business as usual. We will continue to fight to defend our land until the last day that Biafra will remain or stay in Nigeria. This particular broadcast this evening has become imperative to address many issues that are being paraded and shared on social media, especially on the issue of the 2 weeks at home. I want to inform Biafrans that those who do not understand what is going on, Biafra Republic government in exile and the de facto government in the homeland has come to stay. It is the last phase to freedom. And today, I can proudly tell Biafrans that a lot of success has been recorded from the Biafra Republic government in exile and the de facto government in the homeland. We have read all manner of propagandas coming from the Nigeria, sponsored by the Nigeria state, especially coming from those expelled criminals who have spent over 13 years deceiving Biafrans in the name of fighting for freedom. At the end of the day, they sold our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to the terrorist state. And they tried everything possible to kill the struggle, but here we are today, giving them back to back. So Biafran people, I want you to understand that today we have activated the Convention of Montevideo, which Nigeria or even Africa is not signatory to, but it is part of the prerequisite requirement to validate a government. Today, we have fulfilled many requirements to be recognized as a government. And that's where we're going. In October 2023, we are having the first ever Biafra self-referendum convention. It is a convention that we are going to discuss and lecture Biafrans on what to expect during the self-referendum and how the self-referendum will be conducted in line with international laws, in line with international treaties, in line with the most accepted democratic process. giving the people the right to decide their future. And on that note, I want to inform Biafra people today that the Article 1 of that convention has been activated with full force. And at the same time, the Article 20 of the African Charter on Human Rights and People Rights has also been activated, and Biafra people are exercising that right, and we are going to exercise it very soon during the self-referendum of the Biafra people. I also want you to understand that in the coming days, you are going to be faced with a lot of propaganda sponsored by the Nigerian state. You can see that during the sit at home, a lot of lies were told, and they will continue to tell those lies. Just make sure you stand very resolute, stand very strong. We are winning and we continue to win until the day we are going to redeclare Biafra. I want you all to understand that the Biafra Republic government in exile inauguration will happen in September. After that, we will activate in full force the de facto government in the homeland. But first of all, I want you all to understand that the Montevideo Convention of 1933 by the South American state, the Article 1 made it very, very clear how the international law should possess the qualification to define what a state is all about. How will you be recognized as a state? There are qualifications that the international community must recognize before you can be called a state. And I want to inform Biafra people that we have gone through this process. Today, many people do not understand that freedom fighting in the 21st century is something you do with brain, it's something you do with wisdom, it's something you do with knowledge, it's something you do also with experience. Many experience you have to also make sure that you utilize them while fighting for the freedom of your people. And on this note, the state, the Article 1 of this convention, demonstrates how you can qualify to be called a state, or how you can qualify to be called a country, or what should qualify you to be recognized by international community, even when some people may not recognize you, or some organization may not recognize you. But the qualification to be recognized as a state is 1. You must have a permanent population. Biafra has demonstrated that we have a permanent population. In addition to this, the Biafra Republic government in exile in the coming weeks will unveil the Biafra registration and the National Identity Registration of Biafra Republic, which is going to be completely online. That is going to help the Biafra people to lay the database of the Biafra Republic. Number 2, for you to have the qualification to be recognized as a nation, you must define your territory. I want to inform Biafra people today that the Biafra Republic government in exile and the de facto government in the homeland has defined the Biafra territory with a new edited map. Number 4, the government. For you to be recognized internationally, you must form a government. And I want to inform Biafra people today that we have formed a government. We did not just form a government, we have formed the Biafra Republic government in exile government, and we have also formed the de facto government in the homeland. Number 4, before you can be recognized as a nation, especially when you are fighting to liberate your people like the Biafra people are fighting today, you must have the capacity to enter into relation with other states. Today, we have demonstrated that we have the capacity to enter into relation, enter treaties, and sign alliances with different states. And we continue to maintain alliances with Amazonia. We will continue to maintain alliances with others who are secretly supporting the Biafra liberation movement. And in the coming months, as the case may be, they will be coming openly to make statement based on what Biafra will be doing. I want Biafra people to understand as well that this is not just about the military aspect of it, it is also a democratic aspect of this Biafra liberation. And for that reason, we have activated the Article 20 of the African Charter of People and Human Rights. The African Charter of People, the African Charter of Human and People Rights, Article 20 state that all peoples shall have the right to existence. They shall have the unquestionable and the inalienable right to self-determination. They shall freely determine their political status and shall pursue their economics and social development according to the policy they have freely chosen. I want everyone to pay attention to this. The Article 20 of the African Charter made it very, very clear, and that's exactly what the Biafra Republic government in exile is doing today. And we have fulfilled all this requirement, and we are ready to showcase the Biafra government and the nation to the world, which is going to be happening simultaneously in the coming weeks and months. I also would like to address those doubting Thomases who do not understand that Biafra has invested in arms and ammunition. That going forward, those who come with jet, we will begin to shoot them down. I am telling you the fact. Fly on the airspace of Biafra to throw bombs on our people, we will shoot you down. I want to also inform Biafra people, for those who are sharing fake letters and fake news, claiming it is emanating from Biafra, leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, disregard them. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu continue to be the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and he will continue to be the leader, but at this point, he can't lead from captivity of the enemy. I want everyone to understand this particular point very clear. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu in DSS, what it means is that the over 70 million Biafrans are in the DSS. And we cannot fall for the trap that I have set with those who parade themselves as freedom fighters. Taking order or any instruction from the DSS dungeon where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being incarcerated means that entire Biafra is being caged by the Nigerian terrorist state. And that is what Simon Ekpa and every sensible person will not accept. What we are doing is to protect the interest of the over 70 million Biafrans as long as Nigeria continue to detain Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When he is free, he is going to address Biafrans, and then we will know where we are going to go and how we are going to continue from there. But at this point, he continues to be the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, but we are not going to allow the DSS to give order through him to the Biafra people. The idea of arresting or kidnapping him from Kenya and extraordinarily renditioning him to Nigeria was to end the Biafra struggle and to end the freedom fighting for Biafra. And that has failed woefully. And remember that we said we are not going to allow Nigeria state to succeed. today we have defeated them. You have defeated them. Your resilience, your steadfast, your genuinity in the Biafra liberation has made it possible for us to defeat Nigeria. And this victory belongs to you. And I want every one of you to stand very strong, to know that what you are doing is to safeguard your future, to safeguard the future of your children, the future of your generation unborn. And you owe them that duty of care. Do not allow anybody to deceive you. We will not and we will never allow the DSS to dictate how the freedom of 70 million people will be fought. It is not possible. If you fall for that scam, believe me, you will never be free from Nigeria. And I know that over 99% of Biafrans understand that it is time we'll tell the DSS and the Nigeria Islamic State that no, you can't dictate how we liberate ourselves from you. Anything coming from the DSS, anything coming claiming that it comes from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, no, it is coming from the Nigeria state. And it can never favor the struggle for Biafra. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released. And if they don't release him, after these 2 weeks at home, we are coming with more stringent measures how to deal with the Nigeria state. And this time around, we will make sure that we target the Nigeria state. The government, the revenue, everything is what we are targeting this time around. I want you to understand that there is no going back in this movement. We will continue to crash the economy of the Nigeria terrorist state. We will make sure that before oil exploited from Biafra land, they are going to suffer. I want you to understand there is a wave of change in the entire Africa. Military coup happening here and there, and a lot of things are happening. Believe me, it is not a coincidence. Something is happening, and something is going to happen to Nigeria very soon. And Nigeria will never survive the wave that is coming from this week, starting from this week. So, Biafra people, no matter the propaganda that the enemy brought to you, or the enemy are going to bring forward from tomorrow, remember, you can never take order from anybody coming from the Nigeria state. Most of the lawyers have sold out. Most of the lawyers are there for business. Most of the lawyers are just there for their profession. And some of them, you know, Nigeria is a very corrupt country. Some of them being threatened. Some of them doing it for business. But one thing is very, very certain. We are fighting for Biafra freedom. We are fighting to save the people of Biafra. Remember that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not the only person in DSS dungeon. There are many, many people in DSS dungeon, Biafra people. So as we are demanding for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we are also demanding for the release of all the Biafra agitators and fighters that are legally being detained in the Nigeria terrorist state. Our demand, therefore, is to release every detained Biafra from Nigeria. The civil disobedience that Biafra people are backing on now is not only for the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu alone, but it is also to demand every person being detained in Nigeria as a Biafra activist to be released. And that particular statement is coming officially this evening. I want to tell Biafra's people not fall into this trap of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say this, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say that. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu never said anything. What they are trying to do is to create enmity and to create confusion and disagreement and misunderstanding between us and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who will never see, who don't know what is happening with him. And so, what they are trying to do is to use the Nigerian media to create this particular enmity where there is no enmity. They will tell you Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said this, and then you think he actually said it. They will tell you Simon Ekpa said it, and then you think he actually said it. They will tell you Simon Ekpa is being sponsored and backroad. That Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said Simon Ekpa is being backroad by Nigeria government. Do you think Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can actually say such thing? The answer is no. So what they are trying to do is to make Simon Ekpa to provoke and say, okay, I will not fight for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu again, and then we allow him to die in the DSS dungeon. That is exactly what they are looking for. Because if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu come out, he is going to expose those who were responsible in his kidnapping and the extraordinary rendition. And some of them are the one who claim to be fighting for him, including in his own family. So when you see them doing all these things, they are looking for a way to provoke Simon Ekpa, and we have refused to be provoked. I will not listen to anything until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu say it as a free man. Then I will know he said it. So I want to encourage Biafra people to disregard everything. Do not go and start engaging all those people. They are only distracting us. Let us focus on what is going to be happening from tomorrow, going forward. The liberation of Biafra has entered a new level, and we are going to benefit from all this chaotic situation that they are coming from the neighboring countries and all that. It is preparing ground for the Nigeria breakup, and it is preparing ground for Biafra to emerge as a nation. I want you to understand that in the coming days, a lot of things will happen. When they are happening, stay safe. When you see those terrorists coming to our land to kill, take a cover. Be very security conscious. If you are not trained to engage them, do not engage them. All you need is to pass the information to the media, and we know how to get and take care of them. It is now eye for an eye, and we are not going to back down. I want to also inform you that those people who parade themselves of Ohaneze is hereby banned in Biafra territory. We don't want to see them holding meeting anywhere in the name of Ohaneze. Ohaneze does not represent Ndibo. Ohaneze does not represent anybody. So, as far as this particular liberation of Biafra is ongoing, Ohaneze is completely banned in Biafra territory. And I challenge them to hold meeting anywhere in Biafra land. They can never ever be allowed to hold meeting in Biafra land. We are aware that on the 24th of this month, or so thereabout, some people are planning to gather somewhere. Biafrans will engage them. You can never gather in Biafra land again until we see a change in them. I want everybody to understand that what is happening is also a revolution. We are revolting against the criminals, against the corrupt leaders, against the evil government, against the Islamic State, against every oppressor in our land, who all they do is to sponsor killings, maiming, and annihilation of our people. And Ohaneze is part of them. So they are not welcome anywhere in Biafra territory. If they think that I'm lying, they should come to Biafra and see. From here, from me, is good evening. I want to tell every one of you that our broadcast is going to come back as we are working on a new project to make sure that we disseminate information of Biafra and create this awareness to the highest maximum. The Biafra Liberation Army and the Eastern Security Network has done wonderfully well. I am very proud of all of you. I'm very, very proud of you. I'm proud of how you are defending the land. I'm proud of how you people are making sacrifice. I'm proud of how you have shown that, yes, this is not 1967, that you have what it takes to engage the $20 billion government. With all their military tank, we are neutralizing them. With all their aircraft, we are dealing with them. And we'll continue to deal with them until they will come no more. I say that anybody that enters Biafra land to fight you will die, and they will all go in body bags. May God bless Biafra, Republic Government in Exile. And every Biafra must get ready for the convention that is happening in Finland this October. It is very important. It is going to be very historic, and do not miss it. We want to see some of you that are genuinely supporting this Biafra liberation to be part of this convention. You are going to learn a lot. You are going to know how the Biafra will conduct their referendum, their self-referendum. You are going to know how the exit of Biafra will take shape and will take place. May God bless you. May God bless Biafra. May God bless Mazin Amdekano. May God bless the Eastern Security Network. May God bless Biafra Liberation Army. And may God bless the Biafra government and the de facto government. May God bless you. From here, from me, is good evening.
must go and listen to Simon Ekpa, who is doing a very fantastic job. Very great job that Simon Ekpa is doing. Very, very, absolutely fantastic job that he's doing. You must listen to him.
And government shut down on Monday. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the Southeast from Finland. The governor of the state himself obeys the sit at home on Monday, and then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home. And government shut down on Monday. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the Southeast from Finland. The governor of the state himself obeys the sit at home on Monday, and then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home. And government shut down on Monday. It means the real governor of Southeast is Simon Ekpa, ruling the Southeast from Finland. The governor of the state himself obeys the sit at home on Monday, and then the civil servants that work in government house obey the sit at home. And government shut down on Monday. It means the